Welcome to the epicenter of sports and entertainment. This is the Rude Dog Show. Now, here's your host, Rudy Reyes.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Rudy Reyes here on the Rude Dog Show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I certainly appreciate that. Happy afternoon. Hopefully, you're having a great day, great weekend. I must say, it's beautiful, probably no matter where you're at, whether you're on the East Coast or the West Coast. Of course, as they say, the best coast is the West Coast. But the gentleman I have on here, DuPree, may actually argue that fact. He is on the East Coast in Joycey. I don't know if my accent's actually giving it any justice, but DuPree, welcome to the Rude Dog Show. How are you?
Rude Dog, thank you for having me. It's an honor. Thank you. I'm doing great.
Good, man. Glad to hear that. Hopefully you're having a great day as well. Happy Sunday. And for those, they're like, boo, I can't believe it's Sunday because I got to go back to work on Monday. So good enough. And we'll start there. Speaking of Sundays, I know you're probably not going to see a whole lot of basketball season until the regular season kicks off. We know that the Denver Nuggets just won the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Congratulations to them. I hadn't actually formally put it on a podcast yet. They have done an absolutely fantastic job. Mark Malone, along with the Joker, the cast of characters that are on that list, the Bruce Browns of the world, there's just so many different moving pieces of that Denver Nuggets team that put them in position to win their first title ever. And so kudos to them, hats off to them, congratulations. And so with that being said, DuPree, we have kind of a touchy topic. I was watching the NBA draft and I noticed that JJ Redick didn't want to have the conversation about Ben Simmons. He says, I will wait for him to get on the court. I thought that was kind of interesting from JJ Redick. And of course, I think to myself, well, maybe he just doesn't want to talk about it to not want to talk about it, or he wants to see the proof that Ben Simmons will actually touch an NBA court in the upcoming season. I'm not a fan of his lack of effort. Matter of fact, he's in the toilet as far as effort's concerned. I have yet to see him put any amount of effort forth. But when you look at who he is and the fact that, he gets traded from Philadelphia, apparently the relationship with Doc Rivers wasn't all that and a bag of chips. What are your thoughts about Simmons' departure from Philadelphia? And do you even think he's going to touch the court this upcoming season?
May I first say, when he got drafted in 2016, the Philadelphia 76ers drafted him. They saw something special in him. They saw some potential in him. Some critics were saying that he could be the next Magic Johnson. Did you ever hear that before?
I did hear that, and to be honest with you, the only thing magical is for me to believe he'll actually be on the court this year. That would be the most magical moment for me. And I think Nets fans would probably agree to that as well.
I agree too. I agree.
Simmons was actually shut down in February against the Heat last year due to an inflammation in his back. And I think the coach probably made the right move because I hate to say this, and I don't want to throw Ben Simmons under the bus, but we have yet to see him actually play a full NBA season since getting drafted out of college. And I think to myself, man, did Vaughn do the right thing by shutting down Ben Simmons despite the nerve issue in his back? Or was this just precautionary? So, we're just going to leave him sitting until we need something off the shelf to pull it down for you and actually play a regular season game next year.
Coach Vaughn did the right thing. Ben Simmons is starting to be more of injury prone now. Since, the Sixers let him go, he wanted to sit out from 2020 to 2021. That year, they was the number one seed. We had high expectations to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe into the NBA Finals. But with Ben Simmons, he lacked confidence. He kind of second guessed himself. This guy has so much talent at 6 foot 10 inches and 240 pounds. This guy had so much talent, so much potential. But I think that he kind of second guessed himself, and it's kind of been disappointing. Then you go to Brooklyn Nets. You had Kevin Durant and you had a situation with Kyrie Irving and James Harden wasn't there that long. So, this guy, when they traded him for James Harden, it was kind of like a disappointing for the Brooklyn Nets because people say, well, you know what? Maybe this guy he'll show the critics wrong. He'll prove them wrong.
Well, he hasn't proved anything right. He hasn't proven that he can actually stay on the court. He hasn't proven that he's going to be the total team player. He's proven nothing. He's proven nothing to me. He's not going to prove anything to the Nets. And if he does, right. Mind you, in Brooklyn, yeah, he had Kevin Durant, he had Irving. I mean, blah, blah, blah. The big power three. I mean, you move that over to Phoenix, had that conversation last year with Kevin Durant and Booker and Chris Paul. And, you know, this whole trifecta with players going over to other teams saying they're going to be the missing piece. We're going to get it done. I'll give you an example. 2018, I interviewed James Harden. At the time he played for the Houston Rockets at the NBA Awards, I asked him a straight point blank question. I said, James, you guys are missing a few pieces. What do you think about what you're missing? And do those missing pieces, what is going to help you catapult into the following season to win an NBA title? He says, no, I don't believe we need anything at all. Really? And when did the Rockets actually win a championship? Anytime recent? Oh, wait, they haven't. So I guess James Harden's kind of wrong there. And I bring that up because he's been kind of somewhat of a catalyst where he's been some of the teams that he's gone to. He's a free agent right now, but by contrast, he's played a ton more basketball than Ben Simmons has. Matter of fact, the limited amount of play that Simmons actually put into any piece of what looked like a regular season game for him, it was not what he expected. I'm sure he didn't think it's what he expected. He only averaged 6.9 rebounds per game, 6.3 assists, and steals, not even 2 steals. So what that tells me is that his body of work is not quite there. Patty Mills had a conversation to media in regards to what his expectations were about Ben Simmons, and he looks good to go and he's ready to play. I don't believe in any of that hype, to be honest with you. What do you think Patty Mills is really trying to say during that media post? And is it something that you believe actually means something to this Nets organization being able to see Simmons on the floor this season?
I don't think Patty Mills is being truthful. I think Patty Mills is just trying to pat Ben Simmons on the back, and I think he sees as a teammate that Ben Simmons is always injured, and he's not showing a consistency. Like if he really want to play, Rudy, I don't think Ben Simmons is going to be in the league that long. I think this is his last stop. I hate to say that, but I believe this is it because people have saw enough of. You're paying this guy like 35 million?
His contract's out of control. I mean, I'm just saying he is the guy that I'll give you a good example. So the Chicago Bears went ahead and pulled their strings in drafting the quarterback. He got paid more money for sitting on the sidelines than he actually did playing time. And ultimately, that's what led Philadelphia to say, you know what? Dealing Ben Simmons. I think we're going to do that. It wasn't even a real blink of an eye thought. It was a knee-jerk move, which paid off dividends for the 76ers, even though they fell short. But it did free up resources, and it did free up other players to become a part of that welcome distraction. Hey, we don't have to play with the handicap guy anymore because all he's doing is sitting on the sidelines soaking up money from a payroll that could be otherwise used for players that will actually play. Oh, wait, that's me. I'm on the court. What do you know? Shocker. So I look at this season. I think to myself, man, this guy's injury prone. And it's really puzzling to know that despite all of the great things that Ben Simmons had in Philadelphia, he had Doc Rivers on his side. I don't know how coachable Ben Simmons actually is. I know he wants to think that he is or believe, in fact, that he is. But at the end of the day, I don't know that Ben Simmons is that guy. I just have a hard time believing that Ben Simmons is going to do anything at all. When you talk about the fact that he's going to, could be his last stop, it's quite possible. But then again, we thought about that from CP3 now moving over the Golden State Warriors after not making it with the
Suns.
Yeah, so we think to ourselves, where does this guy actually land? This is his 6th team, but he seems to be making good on being given assignments. I mean, he did it with the Clippers. He did it with other teams. He's been that guy. The knock that I have on Ben Simmons, just like I do having a knock on CP3, is the injuries, the timing of those injuries. And needless to say, these guys just don't find a way to stay healthy. and to ride out the playoffs. Now, I understand Ben Simmons was cut short because of that, but when you look at CP3, does CP3 end up being, I don't know, a Hall of Famer by the end of it? Because I think this is his true, unadulterated last stop with the Golden State Warriors, knowing that his body cannot really handle any more of a regular season. Does he win a title with Golden State this upcoming season, or does he fall short again?
I read your post, Rudy, on Twitter. It was excellent. I don't think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think that when he played with the Warriors, I'm not wishing nothing bad, but if he get injured or he's the second, as far as he be on the bench, I really don't see him. I don't see him getting that chip with the Warriors. I think this is going to be his last stop. You can kind of see far as his body movement and everything when he's playing into the playoffs. And what he missed 2 games in the playoffs with the Phoenix Suns, correct? Was he the
injury. But again, this happens to him every year. This isn't just an anomaly. It just doesn't happen out of nowhere. This is something that he's kind of been known for, is to be injured during the wrong time. You know what? To be honest with you, I think CP3's problem ultimately is the fact that he's afraid of success. He's afraid to succeed. Because if he wasn't afraid to succeed, he'd already had won a chip by now by giving everything he had on the court when he was on it. I just think that he is always going to fall short. And to be honest with you, it'd be shocking and surprising, to be completely honest, him even being a starter for the Golden State Warriors. If anything that he does, he's going to ride the bench. He'll ride the bench until his name is called, and then he may not start, but he'll play, says Steve Kerr. I can see this already in writing. I can see it on the wall. I mean, seriously, that's really where it's at, to be honest. It's not as if he's getting paid Jordan Poole kind of money. Oh, wait, my bad. He's not even there anymore. So, at the end of the day, this is a team-friendly deal. This is a cap-friendly deal for the Golden State Warriors. And this is pretty good money for CP3, who finds himself, again, playing for his 6th team. And I don't foresee him playing any further after this season's done. I think he'll retire. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, to be perfectly honest with you, because of those injuries. That seems to mar your ability to even be called or mentioned or named or have a conversation about who you are or what you're trying to accomplish. I just think that he's going to fall short. And I really believe that CP3, I mean, okay, maybe eventually he'll get in, but I don't think he's a first ballot. There's no way. So many other guys are ahead of him in a first ballot Hall of Fame. LeBron James is the number one obvious guy who's in the Hall of Fame. The Joker is on that list as well as getting into the Hall of Fame. There are other guys that are in line that have already won chips. Now, when you don't win chips, it takes a minute to get in. Clearly guys who are already in the Hall of Fame. The great Michael Jordan is already in the Hall of Fame. I mean, look at his capabilities. Look what he did on the court during those 85, 86 Bulls. Just absolutely magical and astonishing. Scottie Pippen can hate all he wants. He needs to drink more Haterade and then finish his cup and then go recycle it, because his commentary is getting a little bit old. Says a lot about who he is as a person, because again, you don't win a chip, it's hard for you to get in. Just like in Cooperstown in Major League Baseball, guys who are suspended for steroids, those that have gambled on the game, like Pete Rose. I mentioned Pete Rose on my show all the time. I don't think Pete Rose is going to get in the Hall of Fame anytime soon. And again, if they're going to make exception for these guys, it's going to take a long time. I don't think there's an exception for Pete Rose. Is there an exception for Chris Paul? Yeah, maybe. I still don't see him as being in the top 5 for guys getting drafted first ballot. He may get in within the next 5, maybe 7 years. I don't know the statute of limitations on when players can get in or when players can't get in, but I know this, that he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Many guys will get in before him, even guys that have just won championships. The aforementioned Joker will get in. So
I agree.
Today, when it's all said and done, Simmons is one of those guys that reminds me of a guy who will be known more for his injuries and the untimeliness of those injuries than anything else whatsoever. This is Rudy Reyes of the Rude Dog Show, joined by Mr. DuPree. Last thing, I want to get your input on this, and I know you're on the Eastern Seaboard, and yes. I recognize that you guys have a lot of beef with different West Coast teams. Give me your top 3 West Coast teams that the East Coast has a problem with, maybe in the NBA as an example, since we're talking about them.
Wow.
Have you heard anything?
No, you know what? Maybe probably not. Look, there's a lot of people on the East Coast like the Lakers. I'm gonna tell you that now. There's a lot of people I run into that loves the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm gonna say maybe the Lakers. Probably Denver might be up there now since Denver the champs. Denver, I really don't see. Maybe the Golden State Warriors, but I don't actually think.
I can see Golden State being totally hated on the East Coast
right.
if they were to travel to play the Nets or travel to play the Knicks. Even going into Philly, Philly's a gnarly place, man, gnarly.
People don't understand, Rudy, that the Warriors name came from the Philadelphia Warriors.
Yeah, it sure did.
Isn't that amazing?
Back in the day. Yeah,
wow,
back in the day.
That's great. Yes.
How ironic is that, right? So they figured the East Coast wasn't the boom, so they thought they'd move over to the West Coast instead. I don't know. I'm just saying, you can speculate all you want. But DuPree, hey, thanks, man, for joining me on the show. I certainly appreciate it. This is Rudy Reyes from the Root Dog Show. Where can everybody find you? Between your social and anything else you might want to mention?
Yes, they can find me at DuPree Shamir on Twitter. That's DuPreeEsshamir. But it's DuPree Evans, but I got it as DuPree Shamir. And I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to speak with you today.
Oh, it's not a problem. Yeah, absolutely. You're definitely welcome, DuPree. We'll have to do this again at some point. And for those that are watching, make sure you tune in. I'm going to try to be much more on the regular, and I don't mean coffee because I can't drink that, but we'll be regular on the show. So thanks again. I appreciate it, and we'll definitely be in touch. Have a great day, DuPree.
Rude Dog, yes.